Harsh is asking how we work on karma of childhood kind of guilt if we have. I'll tell you something, Harsh, here. You won't be able to identify even one single person in the world who does not have shame and guilt. Each one of us go through certain experiences of our life where we do develop shame and guilt at a very young age. And this all happens under the age of 7 years, okay? Now, the only thing that you can do to get over shame and guilt is self-forgiveness and self-love. As I was telling someone that, if your glass is not full, you cannot give it to somebody else, right? So you got to start forgiving yourself for being in that situation, for being in that place. Remember something, when you are under that 7 years of age, what maturity, what understanding each one of us have. I remember, and when I was in school, okay, when I was that young, like I probably was in senior KG, and I went to the school and I was sitting next to a classmate, and I loved his pencil sharpener. It was so beautiful that I didn't realize that when he was not there, I just picked it up. Now I was under the age of 7. I didn't know the morals of whether this is doing a chori from someone. Are you stealing from somebody? I just took it. I came back home and I showed it to my mother. I love this, and I took it from him. And that's where my mother told me that, this is stealing. You're not supposed to do that. Did you ask him before taking this? And I said, no, but I liked it, so I picked it up. So my mother didn't scold me. She said, tomorrow when you go back, you just give it to him and you tell him sorry. And you tell him that I'm really sorry, I liked it and I picked it up. Because that young age, you have no clue what's happening, right? So it's the way you are taught about certain things and certain values. I still remember that incident. I went back next day and I gave him the sharpener, and he started crying because his father had bought that sharpener from somewhere outside of India and he had given it to him. And when he went back home that day, he got a lot of scolding from his parents for losing that sharpener. Now, my one action gave him this consequence, right? But when I look back on that incident, imagine if my mother wouldn't have handled it well and I would not have gone next day and given it to him. Probably he would have felt, continued to feel a certain way, and I would have felt continue to feel a certain way. But at that young age, my point is, this was sharpener stealing. But at that point of time, I didn't know what stealing is. I just liked something, I picked it up, because I don't have the filters at that young age of what is right and what is not, what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. A child doesn't have those filters. So the only thing that you can do about that incident, whatever has happened or whatever you have done, maybe you've done it over a period of time, is to forgive yourself and tell yourself that it's okay. Whatever you did, it happened because you had no clue or you did not have the understanding that you have today. And even if you look back and you say, but I had that understanding and I still did it. When you look back, you feel that you had that understanding. But that point of time, you felt that this is the best choice that is available to me, whether it is to cope up with the pain or to feel the pleasure. All of us operate from the instincts of running away from the pain and running towards the pleasure. At a very young age, we learn it. So it's something that has happened to you, and now that you realize that it was not right, the only thing that you can do is, if you still know the party who's involved in that incident or whatever has happened, maybe you can apologize. Or if they're not involved, maybe you can energetically tell them sorry about it. Or maybe you can write an energetic letter, or maybe you can write a letter if that person is not alive or you don't want to directly talk to that person, or maybe that person is not in connection with you. But the most critical part of you getting over the guilt or shame is to forgive yourself for being in that situation. Because you're someone who's today wise to know that it's not something that you want, or what you did was not right. But back then, that was the most easy and possible and available choice that was possibly available for you. And so you picked it up. So self-forgiveness is the route to self-love. And when you start loving yourself most and most, that's where you start getting over your shame and guilt from the past. Okay, Harsh? So I hope this helps you.